What's up, everyone? Welcome to Unmasked, where things are discovered, uncovered, brought to the light, and made known. I'm your host, Lamar, coming live to you from PG County, Maryland. If you're interested in finding out about the untold stories behind being a college coach, this is the show for you. Being a former assistant men's college basketball coach for 16 years, there are so many untold stories behind the scenes in the life of a college basketball coach. Now, let's unmask them. Today's guest is a young and bright assistant coach, a future head coach in this business, and a Beaumont, Texas native, Brandon Chappell. All right, and I'll talk a little bit about Brandon. Brandon was an outstanding player at Lamar University, right in his hometown. And from, graduated in 2006, finished his career in 2007 after having, his first year there, having a knee injury and having to sit out. And then he went on 5 years to play professionally over in Germany. Playing professional basketball for 5 years. He comes back home, moves to Atlanta, gets into a lot of training, working with Nike, developing players, and then probably realized his real passion. Had a chance to work at Armstrong State down in Savannah, Georgia. He was there for a year before going out to Northern Arizona as a graduate assistant from 2014 to 2016, and then taking a job at Arkansas, Fort Smith, 16-17 season before landing at Lamar University, where he's presently just finished up his third year with Tick Price there. Yes, the legendary Tick Price, for most of you that knows that name. And like I said, he just completed his third year, going into his fourth year. Someone I think is going to be a star in this business. I just want to say welcome to the show, Brandon.
Man, LB, man, I appreciate you, man. And that was a great intro, man. I don't know if I'm deserving of all that. I was a solid player, man. I had good guys around me. But I really appreciate you and been a fan of your show, man. I've seen the other coaches that's been on here and the type of guys that's coming on. And I'll be real, I appreciate you coming to get a down south guy and let me talk business with you a little bit, man. I don't get a chance to get out to that East Coast much.
Well, man, let's get right to it, man. Let's get unmatched. Brandon, like I said, you good player, very good player, played professionally. And then you decide, after playing, you jump into coach after a year, of finished playing. And I think, now you, as a player, you probably forgot how coaches were. A lot of people think that's different, but there's no handbook to being a college coach. I mean, it's just not one. Tell me about the first day, first week, first month. Now, when you're done with human resources, now no one tells you what to do, whether you was at Armstrong State, whether you was a GA, graduate assistant, because even though they give you that graduate assistant title, you're still working as a coach. You're doing a lot of on-campus stuff which people don't understand. And then, also now you go to, now you're at, Fort Smith to Lamar University. But talk about that, just the first day, first week, first month, when no one gives you any direction.
Right. And you hit it on the head. And from being in this game and being in the business, you get there, people tell you things, but it's really truly to just jumping in the fire. And kind of my situation was probably like a lot of coaches where, I was coming straight from playing, in Atlanta, did some skill training, and one of my guys down there, Evan Davis, got the interim position to be a head coach at Armstrong. And me and him have done business, we've been together down there training. And he said, hey, man, I need you to come in. So I really went from being a player to training to want to be in the gym and just jumping right in the fire. So I'll kind of tell you that first day there, I'll start there as far as, I get the job, I'm there, and I'm in the office, and I'm like, Coach, when we get these guys in the gym, like, man, where they at, man? Let's work on our game. Still in that trainer-player mindset a little bit. And he like, B, like, they got to get registered. We got a couple guys that got to get this, that. We got to make sure they go into class. And I was a good student athlete and everything, but it didn't register that it's so many other responsibilities you got to take care of. And basketball is just kind of the core of it, but it's so many things you have to do. So, like, for me, it was really, jumping into the recruiting side, making phone calls. Like, I was truly green. Like, had no idea. I just thought guys decide they want to come to the school, like kind of how I did, and really green. Like I use that word green so much because, man, I was the definition of it, man. I'm talking going on the road to JUCO events, like you can see it written all over me. You know, now I hit the road and you can kind of tell guys that are, either an unfamiliar face or somebody just coming in, and man, that was me to the T.
Awesome answer, man. And I'm glad you said that because these young guys need to understand it's not about, especially now you're seeing more trainers, workout guys getting hired, and some of the guys who haven't had as much coaching experience, even like coaching high school to go to college. So like they think it's all about the basketball part, and it's so much more than that. So I'm glad you made that statement. Talk about recruiting. Recruiting is the lifeline of college athletics. Like if you want to be successful, if you want to win, I'm gonna say that got to get good players, you got to get good people. That's what coaches always say. I never understood during this season when coaches are saying like, you lose the game, it's like, man, our player's not good enough. And like, you can't change the players you already have. So it's not like the players you're recruiting for next year are going to be playing in the next game. But tell me about your best and worst recruiting story.
So you're right. You mentioned Tick Price earlier, man, and he is beyond a big time mentor for me. I'm blessed to be here with him, but he has something that he always says, and it's so true. He says, "Hey guys, I don't need tricky plays. I need tricky players." and it's so true because obviously they have a lot of coaches, and you put guys in the best position, but it always helps when you can have those guys. So with us, that's definitely the foundation of every program, and with us, or even not just us, even with me personally, man, I trying to think of a recruiting story. I don't know if it's best or worst, but I kind of have a funny one. Young guys don't understand, obviously you're recruiting guys, you're trying to get them on campus, but it's truly an interview for both people, especially when you get them on campus. So when I was at Fort Smith, we had a guy, we had a scholarship pop open late, and it kind of would have been a perfect marriage. He was still available. He got some late classes. We had a scholarship open, boom. It was just him coming on campus to cross T's, dot I's, and it's done. We wanted him. He wanted to be here. And he gets here, and he just wasn't professional as far as like his mindset, real kind of, he's a kid, and we're not holding that against them. They're still learning, but man, we were out eating, and we had a guard named Kyrie, and we were just kind of talking. We said, yeah, Kyrie had a great freshman year, and he stopped us and was like, Kyrie Irving played here? I'm like, we at Fort Smith, man. Kyrie Irving, man. So that was kind of one thing, and then just the day going on, and it was one time, my head coach was like, hey, what are you looking forward to the most when you come here, when you come here to school, and open for grinding with the guys or living in your own space or whatever the case. He kind of goofed around, looked, he was like, and he looked at his dad. His dad was like, go ahead and tell him. He was like, Coach, like, I'm looking forward to the girls. And it's like, hey, I get it, but this is a job interview, man. Like, you got to be. And so it was just little things like that was going on throughout the day. Long story short, we met in the morning. It's like, we love him as a basketball player. It has nothing to do with his basketball ability. It was just the mindset of him and not taking on additional headaches, or we can already see a little down the line that, this is a guy we didn't want to take that risk. So, it's things like that in this recruiting, man. You just never know how it's going to go. But that was a situation where he took the scholarship from himself. You know what I mean?
I feel you on that. I mean, and that, you're right. You know what? That's a great story. That's not a best or worst. I mean, it was, but you guys saw exactly what like you say, okay, this may not work out for us in the long run. I mean, it could in the short, but at least you saw that, you had the foresight to see that, and, probably was best for you not having them in your program. So right. I understand.
And it's kind of keeping everybody accountable. Like, yeah, some of the parents don't understand what it's like recruiting and understand that, but he's had coaches, he's had things, and we don't know if he was prepped before he came, but trust me, I was sick we didn't take him because he was a good player, man. But it was one of those things, it's, you kind of had to roll with it a little bit.
Gotcha. So now you're young. You were young. You know, you finished playing, and you're coaching. You've been coaching the last 8 years. But like, what did you have to give up or sacrifice achieving your current level of success?
LB, that's a great question. Kind of first thing when you said that I thought about was just your humility. A lot of times, you know, especially for ex-players, and I can only speak from the experience I have, you kind of think like automatically, hey man, come on, I played the game, I sacrificed, I should automatically be a coach. And it's not like that. It's you really humbling yourself and taking, you know, some people are blessed to, hey, come right in and learn on the fly like that. But like for me personally, you know, I kind of had to go, you know, I had to be a GA. I had to take, you know, this assistant job here. And then after I was even a GA, me feeling like I should have automatically stayed Division I coming from Northern Arizona and having to go back to Division II or no matter the level, it's just kind of like, hey man, you got to pay your dues. You know, this is a business. You have to learn things. It's a lot of steps you have to take. And honestly, everybody's story not the same. You know, too many times guys talk to other people and they hear this guy's story or hear this guy's story or how somebody else made it, and it won't necessarily pertain to you. So it's really just humbling yourself. And if you really want this, I mean, it's cliche. You know, we're in a business where it's cliches all the time, hard work and, you know, wait your turn. But it's really true. It's just taking those cliches and turning it into your own.
Awesome answer, man. I really respect that answer. Talk about scout reports. This is we all know like scout reports, man. Like you can almost tell, you know, guys are kind of changing how they do it, but still, when it's your scout, you invested in the team. But when it's your scout, it's like you invested. You much more energized. You're on the sideline. You're more talkative. You're jumping, yelling, and screaming at players, especially when you've gone through this for days. You prepared them. You know, you got the calls, you got the actions, and then the kids go out and they don't perform. And you like, man, this is one of the best scout reports I had. Or a scout report that you know you thought was well, but then you missed some things. Guys who didn't play ended up coming in the game, 9th, 10th guy, or a guy who had made 3 out of his last 33 struggling. You're telling the guys that's struggling, and dude comes in the game and he's made 4 threes. And the kids are looking at you like, Coach, you said he couldn't shoot. No, I never did say he couldn't shoot. Or the coach jumping on you for saying, well, this dude just made 3 or 4 threes. I mean, can he shoot or not shoot? So what was your best and worst scouting report?
Man, and I love on here already talking to you because you've been in this seat. So already the things you saying hit, but what kind of stuck out to me, you said like the guys will be like, hey, you know, I thought you said he couldn't shoot. Actually, your team from going through it will keep you more accountable. It's like, you know what, I know these boys in this locker room. Let me make sure I cover every single thing. So, hey, if it does happen, whatever. But, man, it's personal. I mean, it's no secret. Like, guys can mask it how they want. When it's your scout, it's personal. You spend the time. It's extra hours. You're already doing your normal duties, but you're putting that extra work in so it can come back. But if it's not personal, then I think it's a problem personally. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be like that, but I'm trying to think of a story. You know, I know like starting off with me personally, it was just relaying the information to the guys, you know, so they can truly understand. And then also like when I say it's personal, you know, you love your guys, you love your team, you want to win. You're responsible basically to get that win. So, you know, if you're not prepared and if you're not doing things, like it is on you. Like, you know, yeah, the guys got to perform, you know, this and that, but you want to put them in the best position. I don't know if I have a worst or best story, but I remember my first year here at Lamar, we played UC Davis at a tournament in Vegas over Christmas. And I had that scout, put the time in and, you know, did everything. And as the game's going on, I kick myself in the butt. And I kind of do a little bit to this day, or at least try to make me better. But there were certain things I felt like, you know, I could have put us in a better position or even fought for certain, you know, Coach Price is going to run his team. You know, he's an OG. He's been there. I'm not here like, hey, coach, we need to do this or we gonna. But I wish I would have fought more for that scout and certain actions and certain defenses I thought would be well. And you know, I was kind of first year filling Coach Price out, and I kind of was like, yeah, you know, instead of like really fighting for like, hey, coach, we need to switch 1 through 4 on this, you know, and you know, kind of taking it personal in that way. And I didn't do that. We ended up losing the game, a game I felt like we should have won. And man, I think about that now when I do my scouts. I'm like, hey, you know, hey, coach can get mad at me, but I have to speak my piece so I can at least let him know everything that I've seen. Because I know he's watching film too, you know, so.
No, I respect that. I love that. I love that answer. Don't have to like. It's all about the story. You still got your point across without having to come up with a specific one. So I love that. What's the biggest challenge you think you've experienced since you've become a college coach?
It's those relationships. You know, we're in a basketball community. You know, it's 1 degree of separation. We're all here. We talk to the same people. This and that. I think for me personally, one of the biggest challenges constantly keeping that communication with the people that's really helped you with a player here, or help you with a player here, or helps you get this job, this and that, because you know recruiting goes on so much, and you talk to people in that immediate circle so much. Like if you're trying to get 2-3 kids, you know, you're talking to everybody there, and you may forget about or not check in on other people that helped you, whether they have a kid or not. So for me, it's constantly keeping track and keeping in touch with other people that help you, that can help you down the line. And not saying I don't, but I need to do a better job of
that. I hear you on that one. Good stuff. Do you ever find, because I like I said, I talked about it earlier. I said, hey, he's gonna be, to me, I think he's gonna be a future head coach in this business. But do you ever find that there are things about you that people might misunderstand? Like what are they?
Man, that's a great question, man. You know, I try to do right by everybody, and that's just kind of the core of me, the way I was raised. And I think sometimes like when you have a good relationship with people, or you know, somebody may see you be like, oh, you know, that's my guy. You know, I've heard too many times people say, man, I don't trust somebody where everybody's their guy. And you know, there's a little truth to that, but like with me, man, I am who I am. You can read it. You can tell how I'm feeling. You know, if I'm energized or if I'm not feeling something, I don't really mask it with, you know, we on Unmasked. I'm not going to mask my emotions. So a lot of times I'm an energetic guy. You know, I try to treat everybody the same, but I think some people can kind of think I'm like that with everybody. But, you know, I'm also one where, you know, you cross me once and then, okay, I got it now. You know what I mean? But before that, you know, I give everybody equal opportunity, and, you know, I can see you down the line wherever. I'm going to be, hey, what up, LB? And that's just who I am. And some people take that like, oh, man, you know, that's the business. That's how he is. No, that's really who I am.
Awesome, man. Now, I know we're in this business. This is education. We educate and we teach. Everybody loves to teach the basketball part, but like, what do you try to teach your players besides basketball?
Man, without a doubt, life. Without a doubt, as simple as that is. You know, we talked about cliches earlier. A lot of cliches that you hear is, I'm not a coach, I'm a mentor. But it's the truth. Like if you just bringing guys in and yeah, you work out all day, you know, hey man, do your homework, you know, get your degree, and then that's it. I think you're doing a disservice to it. Like that real education is life, personal experiences that you've gone through where, you know, forget basketball and school and this and that. It's a situation with your family, or it's a situation you have with a girlfriend, or it's an uncomfortable conversation with one of your boys, you know, just all these different things. And I know like with us and with Coach Price, he wants us to spend an extra time with guys, and it's something that he doesn't have to force us to do. You know, it's one to get to know these guys, because you know how it is, El. You know, when guys know that you care, they truly fight for you. And that's what we're building over here. That's what I'm doing as a coach, as far as when you say education, man, it's when you do the life deal, it's gonna come back around full circle to basketball anyway. But it's just teaching them about every situation, finances. Hey, I know that Pell Grant just dropped, man, but look, this is what you need to do, man. Like, it's okay, get you a pair of shoes, or go out, take your girl out to eat, but you need to go ahead and put some of this to the side. And, just little stuff like that just throughout the year, man. So education, man, it's just life lessons to the best that we know how.
Awesome, man. Great advice for those young guys as well. What are your best and worst memories in coaching?
Well, I can start off with worst memories is it. Man, when you lose that recruit, man, we talk about scout reports. I just think about. I'm gonna kind of go back to recruiting on this. One of my worst memories was, a guy. I jumped the gun and kind of told Coach Price, "Hey, man, this kid's available. My guy has him. This is one of my brothers, Coach. Like, we're gonna get this kid." And you never know how things end up going. Long story short, we was a finalist. We didn't get the kid, and with Coach Price, I never want to let him down. So I felt like I really let him down. So that's just, when it comes to the recruiting side, man, I really take that personal. But without a doubt, one of my best memories is as a kid where I coached him for 2 years. And I want to say it was my second or third day on the job. He handled something bad and I jumped him, like just went right into it. And our relationship was rocky through those years, but I was holding him accountable all the time. And, so that's year one. Year two, we're still trying to build our relationship. And we end up going on a great run. We won like 9 in a row, finished winning 11 of our last 13 games going to the conference. And before a conference tournament, he just came into my office and was like, "Coach, man, like, I'm on the way out, but man, Coach, I love you so much just for staying on me and not letting up." And he's sitting across from me, man. And it's like, I just felt it inside, because it was genuine. And I was like, man, I thought, he was just talking bad about me or didn't like it, but he really appreciated it. And it kind of just let me know, like, hey, B, like, stay the course. You know what I mean? But he really, I still talk to him to this day, man. He really touched me on a whole other level.
That's some awesome stuff right there. Yeah, I mean, because you don't know. One thing about it, you can think kids think in one way and they feel another way. You have no idea. Right. But then they understand at the end of the day, like, you only looking out for their best interest. And that's when you loving those kids come back and they thank you for that. That's some great stuff.
A lot don't do it.
What you say?
A lot won't do it. Even if they feel that way, they'll hold it in. But for whatever reason, this kid, he was the last kid that kind of speaks on his emotions. So it was kind of like the core of the kid too that made it special too.
Awesome. Now, what do you think? What's the most stressful situation you may have faced since you've been in coaching?
I mean, it's a list of them, but a kid that I was really fighting for and wanted him to be here, but a lot of times you don't reach him and he couldn't get right. And it's like, your head coach trusts you to be, hey, what, he's going to make the final decision. He or she's going to make the final decision, but they trust you. And I couldn't vouch for a kid no more. And I know he needed us here. And, he just had certain things he was doing that wasn't good for the program. And, we're trying to help him build. And, you want to be patient. You don't want to just kick guys to the curb after one, obviously depending on the severity of it, but not being able to really vouch for a kid that I know that needed us. But, he just couldn't get right. And we had to be that lesson for him. Like, he's going to look back and be like, man, I messed that opportunity up when I was there. And trying to prevent him from having that lesson, but nothing we can do.
Good stuff, man. What is the strangest thing a player has done outside of the basketball court?
Man, you had me stuck. The strangest thing that a guy's done. I don't know if it was necessarily strangest, but these college kids, they you know, they're in life. We talk about educating about life. They're going to go to parties. They're going to do things. We had one guy, and he's a great kid, great basketball player. But one of his other passions was, I mean, he grew up in a household that entertained and liked to dance. And at parties, he would literally like go to parties and dance. Like, I'm not talking about, you know, you just on the wall and, you know, we all been a party, but he would actually like on some you got served stuff, like, and really dance and get it in, and tweaking his ankles or his knees, got to get ice. And we're like, yo, what are you doing? Like, it's a difference if you in the gym extra, but you putting wear and tear on your body because you want to go dance at parties the whole time. So we really had to talk to him about that. And I thought that was a little, you know, that's a little strange, man. We had to talk to a college athlete that wants to make money and wants to get his degree, wants to do well, about, hey, man, when you go to parties, like, we get it, but you can't be on the dance floor for 4 hours. We need you to practice the next day.
Yeah, that's a little strange. That was a little strange. Now, like I said, you're in it long enough, you know, but you work with a great guy, Coach Price. Is there some other guys like, and I'm saying you're not interviewing for a job, but I know you still look at some coaches from afar. Is there some guys in this business like you look at and say, man, I just want to pick his brain and figure out what he thinks, what makes him tick, you know, like some other head coaches?
Absolutely. You said that question just as far as like other assistants or current head coaches or
other head coaches, current head coaches.
Right. Yeah. I mean, obviously, Coach Price here. I'm fortunate enough to be here with him. But you mentioned me and you talked before, like you know, Shaka Smart's probably one, with him actually being in Texas now. But just watching his story around the time when they were going on their runs and doing things, I was just getting into the coaching business, and there's a list of coaches, but just Shaka kind of comes to mind because from outside looking in, I haven't had the pleasure. I think I met him a couple of times, but outside looking in, it's his energy and his passion and truly just diving himself into those guys that seems to make him tick and make him go. And kind of would just like to pick his brain just on an everyday deal. Like, as far as I looked up when I kind of first got in business, some of the things he did with the guys at VCU, where he was thinking outside the box as far as like, you know, boxing or cross train or just different things that he does, different team things. And that really, you know, that really stuck out to me. And another one is Richie Riley at South Alabama. He was actually in our conference at Nicholls State, and I had a chance to get to know him a little bit and you know, have a relationship with him. But he's a guy that, you know, would really like to continue to pick his brain because just it's kind of like the same with Shaka, man. Just that passion and that energy. And yeah, we know it's recruiting, we know it's X's and O's, and so many things going to being a head coach, but those kind of intangible things you can't teach.
Awesome, two great guys, man. That's a great answer. Like I said, short span, 8 years, but what's the biggest accomplishment you think you've experienced since you've been in college coaching?
Man, really and truly, is humble as it sounds, man, just really the opportunity to live another day or live another year in this business. You know how it is, man. So many things have to go right, and so many, you know, excuse my lingo, but I'm just gonna kind of like janky things. Like I'm gonna give you some of the South over here, and I know y'all. I don't know if y'all but like just where things you can't control happen. So just year in and year out, still keeping a job and still being able to do this. But when I was at Arkansas Fort Smith, that was a great program. A lot of different coaches have been there at the Division II level, and for the first time, we were able to not only win the conference. Well, we won the conference championship, but the first time we were able to get over that hurdle and win the conference championship for my head coach. So when you talk about kind of accolades and things, we really grinded it out with those guys. And that was kind of one of the early on championships that we did that really just kind of stuck out to me, because he won conference championship, but we never, as simple as it was, or simple as it sounds, won the conference championship. So us doing that and going to the NCAA tournament was just something to just, fill me up.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to ask this, even though you may not have enough time, because we all know the college coaches is, 12, 15-hour days plus. We also know, like, you 7 days a week, you're working a lot of times, 355, 360 days a year. So what movie or TV show title best describes your week? Because you probably don't get the chance to see any of that stuff a lot, but what would you say best describes your week?
Oh, man. Oh. And you know what? I watched one of yours earlier. I saw you ask that question, and I'm mad that I'm stumbling on it. But kind of right now, I'll say Ozark. Ozark because, you can think you're doing this, you're doing that, and then something happens. And then, I just guess I want to say by all the twists and turns. Man, we're doing the right thing over here. But I'm just saying, like, just how, college coaching, man, so many things pop up that you can't control of. I hear too many head coaches. You talking about another one, Amir Abdul-Rahim down at Kennesaw State, but he says it all the time, and even Coach Price, you can write your to-do list down, and you might get to one or two because too many things happen throughout the day. So just any show like Ozark or my girl right now, she's watching Queen of the South, where just so many things just pop up that you just can't expect for. So any show that has twists, turns, suspense, that's college coaching.
Awesome. You're so right, though. You're right. What's your favorite word or phrase?
Back end success. We talk a lot about planting seeds, like, basketball, coaching, finance, life. It's all about planting the seed for that back end success. So I know I talk a lot with my guys, and Coach Price does, and we follow his lead. But what you're doing right now is obviously for right now, but it's for back end. And that's that college degree. That's life lessons. That's stuff, experience that you go through that you may not have made the right decision right here, but a lot of things you're doing, like even what you're doing right now with your show, man, you're doing it, you're giving us coaches a platform, but it's also back end where somebody can go back and look what you're doing or see what other coaches have talked about. So one thing we preach a lot about, and I do myself, is back end success.
Love it. Love it. Where is your happy place? Because we have some, in coaching, you have some days that you just like, tough loss, talked about recruiting, losing recruit, practice, things just don't go right. But where do you find, where's your happy place?
Great question. I really try to focus on balance. Like you said, man, we have long hour days and it's work all the time. You have to have things on the side, but one of my happy places, honestly, man, it's just really as cliche. You're gonna hear me say it a lot. It's just the relationships I have, and not just in the business, but lifelong relationships where you can call and laugh with one of your boys, or I can call my little brother and we have talk about whatever. But one thing I'm gonna kind of say, I don't know if it pertains to the question or not, but a lot of times our hours go late because you got to continue to talk and you got to always continue to build relationships. But I'm big on if I have to stay by my phone and I got to constantly do this and that to keep your relationship, maybe that relationship isn't as real as I think it is. So a lot of times I'm okay with putting my phone down for a little bit. Obviously if the boss man called or my players here, it's an emergency. But honestly, passing up on some of those calls sometimes just to take a deep breath and spend time with the family, do things like that without worrying, okay, I didn't answer the call, I didn't reply real quick, that relationship's going to be gone.
That's good stuff right there. I actually like that. I wish I would use that when I was younger. I know you're not a self-promoter.
Big price, I know it's wisdom every day.
Look, I know you're not a self-promoter, but if you had to choose 3 adjectives to describe yourself, which would you choose?
Mm. Uh, Energy, aggressive, and humble. I'm big on
Like,
energy. I think you can really control that, and that's just who as a player, man. I was one of those defensive pests. I'm slapping the floor, I'm on that Wojciechowski stuff. I'm an energy guy. I say aggressive because it's easy to kind of be passive aggressive. I heard a coach tell me one time, and this is where in the business, you want a player, you want to build a relationship with a coach, you want to get a job. It's like, hey man, if you want it, you got to go get it. So I really try to be aggressive when it comes to that stuff, and then, man, really just being humble, man. We're all learning. We're not reinventing the wheel. We trying to do right by people. That's really just those core things in me.
awesome. I'm gonna ask you this: what qualities do you value in the people with whom you spend time?
Big time, big time. The quality really being genuine and then not being negative. It's too many times, we always got to, I'm going to kind of circle this back to the coaching where sometimes you do have to prepare for the worst, but a lot of times I don't even want to talk about the worst. I want to be able to, whether it's coaching, whether it's life, whether it's this, I want to have positive speaking and positive feeling people around me because I'm big on, and this go back to my grandmother, like putting stuff in the air. I don't want to put bad things in the air, like, oh man, he's gonna da this, and then this. Like I've been around some people like that, and I just kind of stay clear of people that put things in the air that don't even need to be in the air. So I would say one of the main qualities is just positive speaking.
Awesome, I love it. What person and or event has had the most influence on your life?
Look, I really feel like I'm doing an acceptance speech right now, and I can't thank everybody. So, but I would honestly have to say my dad. I'm fortunate enough, we coach a lot of guys and have a lot of friends that necessarily may not have their father in their life. I've been blessed to have my dad, and all these core things, everything I'm saying. He really instilled in us, and I can't leave out my mom as well, man. Really, to sum it up, my parents. I know I'm blessed to have two really good parents. They're not together, they're divorced, but watching them, they've been divorced my entire life. So watching them coexist together, spending time with one here, one there, and still being collective, but just watching how they handle business with me and my brother and how they are every day. I kind of just use that with everything I do and the people I meet. So without a doubt, I said my dad first, but my mom right there and both of them together. It's without a doubt my parents.
Awesome, man. I'm gonna ask you this: how has coaching affected your life?
It's affected my life. Just understanding it's truly bigger than you. A lot of times, I'm coaching. Like I'm in my office right now. My player could come in. We can do study hall. We can go out on the court. But then when I go home, he has stuff he's dealing with that's affecting other people. And it's just these levels of the people you touch and in coaching. We touch so many people, you can recruit, you can be on the phone with 20 different guys and you still got your main guys and you got your coaches and you got people that's helped you. And you know how it is. You can be on the phone all week long to touch everybody, but it's really understanding that everybody's dealing with something. And everybody has something going on, and it's not just you and your job. It's a lot of different factors that are being touched every single day. And when you coach, you touch so many different people. You kind of get a bird's eye view sometimes of seeing everything that goes on and how deep it is.
Good stuff, man. Well, I always like to end with this question just because it gives you a chance to go back and think about some stuff. Like, knowing what you know now, what would you tell your young self to prepare for as an assistant coach or younger self?
The word no, go ahead and embrace it. Don't be scared of it. Attack it head on, and understand that no is temporary. Early on in the business, when I first started coaching, told you before, I was green. I didn't know. When I left Armstrong, I called Tick Price up like, hey, coach, I've been coaching 1 year. I'm ready to come to Lamar. Not even understanding all the levels and things you got to do to prepare. And he turned me down twice before I got this job. And I've been turned down before, whether it's recruits, jobs, whatever the case, but embracing the word no, where it's like, hey, you know, I think, you know, we hear a lot of coaches get hired to get fired or whatever people say, but it's not being scared of that word, and you'll be fine.
Great stuff, man. Well, look, I want to thank you again, Brandon, for being a guest on the show and being unmasked. Is there anything you want to leave with the viewers before we go?
Well, just for you, man, we just want to give you your flowers, man. Just you've been in this game a while. You've been in different spots, and what you're doing right now, I'm sure guys have told you, but truly, man, giving us this opportunity, giving me the opportunity to have this platform. One of the things I'm trying to improve is public speaking and getting out there a little bit, but I truly appreciate you having me on, and just young coaches in the game or even vets in the game, just continue to stay the course and embrace that word no, because it ain't gonna stop.
Well, I thank you, man, for those great words, man. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And I want to say thank you, viewers, for watching another great show. Stay tuned for the next guest as we get them unmasked. See you next time, and stay safe.